Trying to transition from a clinical role to a non-clinical role can feel almost impossible in 2025. And in today's video, I want to share with you my experience of losing my non-clinical role due to a reduction in force to landing a new non-clinical role within 9 days. If you don't know who I am, my name's Philip McGee. I'm a physical therapist who transitioned into non-clinical roles in 2021, and I have been creating content over the past 4 years of trying to help people land non-clinical roles. By the end of this video, I hope that you will have at least 3 actionable steps that you can take if you are trying to transition into non-clinical roles and to speed up the process to get a job offer. At the end of April 2025, I was notified by my director that my position had unfortunately been eliminated as a learning and development specialist. And this was a bit of a shock because my wife and I, we were expecting our 3rd child. And so there was immediate internal panic of, I need to find a job right away. I immediately went to the internal job board and started searching for positions that had been posted within the past 7 days that I would be able to meet those qualifications, and I applied to those roles. There were 2 specific roles that I applied for, and fortunately for me, I had already updated my resume. If I hadn't had my resume updated, that would have been a little bit more challenging to immediately apply for those roles. After I applied for those roles, I started looking on LinkedIn and searching for the job titles of people in my network that are in LinkedIn that I could reach out to. There were a few people that I sent messages to, and very fortunate for me, a few of them responded back to me. That really helped me get my foot in the door to get a job interview. While I was networking with other people on LinkedIn, I was sending connection requests for those that were in the roles that I was applying for. I was also trying to communicate with a few other people that might be able to keep me posted about job openings. One of the people that I messaged, they were also on the team that I was applying for, and that really worked out in my favor because I do think that really helped with me being able to get a at least initial interview with the recruiter. By the end of that first day, I found out that I had an interview with the recruiter. So I immediately started to prepare for the job interview. If you want to check out a couple videos, I do have some videos on this channel about interviewing. From there, I was able to have the recruiter interview, which then led to the manager interview. And for that manager interview, I had a lot of stories prepared so that I could try to make it more objective as to why I'm the best candidate for them to select. And then I also had an interview with the team. For the last interview that I did, the thing that I think helped me stand out is following the advice of Madeline Mann. She wrote a book called Reverse the Search, and she talked about show, don't tell. And show, don't tell, what I did was I tried to use some different experiences that I had in learning and development, and I created a few different presentations on those different projects that I did to show how I was someone who was best qualified for the role that I was applying for as a clinical content specialist. The things that I used in those presentations, I only showed one of those presentations, but I had prepared about 3 different things. One was to show how I create algorithms already when it comes to my role, so I have a better understanding of how to explain things as a clinical content specialist. I also showed how I take a project from beginning to end and what I've learned in that process, which is the main thing that I showed during that interview. I also tried to show how I organize things when it came to my position as a learning and development specialist. I was very fortunate to find out that within 9 days of being notified that my position was eliminated, I was given a job offer and I was able to accept that job offer. The concerns that I had about what were we going to do with having a baby on the way, I was very fortunate that I was able to stay internal, and I was able to keep my seniority with the company. I was able to keep all my benefits, didn't have to worry about losing my paternity leave. So I was incredibly fortunate, and those are some of those things that I don't take for granted. In fact, right now, as I'm recording this video, I am halfway through my paternity leave. The three biggest takeaways that I can give you if you are trying to apply for non-clinical roles, or maybe you have unfortunately been part of a reduction in force, is to, one, always keep your resume updated. If I didn't have my resume already updated before this reduction in force happened, it would have been incredibly challenging to apply to the handful of roles that I applied to. And so being able to apply within the first week of the position being posted, I think really helped me. So make sure that you have an updated resume at all times. It doesn't have to be updated with every single thing to match the job description that you're applying for. You just need to make sure that your bullet points are up to date, especially if you haven't done it in the past year. The second thing is to build a network. I think the easiest way to build a network is to go on LinkedIn, start searching for either job titles that you're interested in, or trying to find people that work for companies that you're interested in applying for, and ideally try to build those connections over time. That way you're not feeling rushed. You are able to have those connections ahead of time, and you're not just some random stranger who's asking to get help for a job. The last is to be as prepared as possible for interviews. And I know that preparing for interviews feels very tedious and time consuming, but it's going to be the thing that really decides whether or not you get the job. The job market is incredibly competitive, and so you need to find ways to make yourself stand out. I mentioned that Madeline Mann, she has a lot of great content, as well as she has a new book that came out this year, Reverse the Search, and it talks about different strategies when it comes to interviewing. The two most helpful strategies were to have the story toolbox, which I have been recommending for over the past 4.5 years, and because that helped me land my first non-clinical role. And then the second is the show don't tell. And I do think in this case, the show don't tell, that helped me put myself above others to really stand out. Whether you've been applying for 1 week or 1 year or more, I hope that you find this video encouraging. If you're needing guidance when it comes to your non-clinical job search, I have both free and paid resources. You can go to my website, nonclinicalcareerguide.com. I do provide resume reviews and practice interviews. I also have lots of free content on my YouTube channel here. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.